Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of my Frugal Living series. Now, as you know, if you've been watching, my husband Martin and I have been living frugally for about 10-11 years now, and you'll notice that I'm wearing a lot of clothes today. It's actually got quite chilly here the past few days. I'll show you on my little clock there. I don't know if you can see that. It's Sunday today. It's 20 past 4. And it's 11 degrees in here. One of the ways that we live frugally is that we don't have any central heating. We decided that we would go without central heating, and we would use the money that we save from that to go away for part of the winter. So we're actually going to Fuerteventura for 2 months in a couple of weeks' time. But for now, I've literally got loads of layers on. This thing is brilliant. It's wool on the outside. I got this in a charity shop, and then inside it's like this sort of fleecy stuff. Really warm. I really recommend these. And then I've got this as an actual thermal layer, and then I've got just a t-shirt thing on, but I've also got a proper long sleeve thermal on as well. I've also got long johns and pyjamas bottoms on, and 2 pairs of socks, and I find sort of the layering effect is really good for keeping warm. I've also got my hot pack on my lap and a nice warm cup of mint tea, and despite the fact that it is sort of 10-11 degrees in here, I'm actually quite nice and warm. So, you know, it does take a bit of getting used to, but if you possibly can, you can save a lot of money from not having your central heating on all the time. Or like us, don't have any central heating. Anyway, I will carry on now. I've got 5 very random kind of frugal tips for you today. Some of them are a bit Christmassy because we're getting on towards that time of the year. And a couple of them are, well, one of them's to do with travelling, because that's what my mind is thinking about at the moment, because obviously we're going away in a couple of weeks' time. So I'll dive in. First thing is these things. Now, these are, we got them from eBay, and they're like tumble dryer balls, I think they're called. We've got 2. They were very inexpensive, just a couple of pounds off of eBay. And because obviously we don't have any central heating, as I've just explained, we can't dry our clothes in the house. They just don't dry because there's no heat in here. And in our garden now, we don't get any sun. There's a big tree which one of our neighbours at the back is on their land, and because the sun is so low at this time of the year, it blocks out any sun into our garden. So we were hanging out the washing up until I think last week, but it wasn't drying, so we've had to start using the tumble dryer, and we'd read about these, so we got some, and Martin reckons it's cutting the tumble dryer time by about a quarter, maybe a little bit more, depending on what we're actually tumble drying. So that's really good. So if you do have to use a tumble dryer, then these are worth it. The other thing that we've started doing is dividing up our washing and therefore the drying as well into like things that are a similar weight. So instead of like doing a tumble dryer load, for example, that's got 1 pair of jeans in it and then everything else much lighter, which dries much quicker, we'll save up all the jeans and do them all in one go, and then we'll do like a load with just pants and socks, maybe light t-shirts and things like that. So we do seem to be doing quite well with the washing and drying in terms of the cost of it, which is great. And we're just washing less. I think I've said this before, you know, we're just wearing clothes, especially the ones that you wear on the outer layer, we're just wearing them a few more times and not washing them after wearing them only once. And yeah, it does seem to work. It does seem to be saving us a bit of money, so that is good. Next thing I wanted to talk about, and this is really random, this vlog, I'm sorry about that, but it is nearly Christmas, is mulled wine. Now, my mum bought this the other day actually because we'd read an article on the internet where they'd been testing a lot of different pre-made mulled wines, and they recommended the Lidl one to be the nicest. And Mum was in Lidl and she said it was the only... What's going on with the light? Well, that's better. She said it was the only one left on the shelf, so she picked up a bottle, but I forgot to ask her how much it was. And obviously we're going to save that for our little Christmas day that we're doing. But it got me thinking, about how you could make something like mulled wine without it costing a fortune. Now, there are reasonably priced mulled wines out there. So if you want to buy a pre-made one, I think, either try a few or go for the cheapest one, see what it's like. You can also use up any red wine that you already got, and you can get these. I got these in Sainsbury's, I think it was last year, and I think it was £1, and they're mulling spices, and they're like tea bags. Oh, they smell so yummy. And it's a blend of spices with dried orange peel, and it's for mulling wine. So in there is dried orange peel, ground pimento berries, cassia, cloves and nutmeg. Smells yummy. And you can use whatever kind of red wine you've got and pop these into it, heat it up, and you've got yourself a lovely mulled wine. Or if you wanted to, you could do it all from scratch, and you could buy the spices separately, or maybe you've already got them, and slice up some oranges. There's loads of recipes actually on YouTube and on the internet that you could look up. So if you've already got red wine kicking around and you want something really Christmassy, it's a really good idea. I like to put it in the slow cooker and just leave it to warm, and it makes the house smell divine, smells so Christmassy. If you didn't want to do mulled wine, you could also do mulled cider. Cider is really inexpensive. Again, I'm sorry, I can't give you actual prices, and obviously you have to go and see which ciders you like, but very inexpensive in the supermarkets. And again, there's lots of recipes for mulled cider, and again, you can pop it in the slow cooker, put all the bits into it, or even these if you don't want to buy everything separately, and you've got yourself a lovely warming festive drink. The other thing you can do if you don't want to use alcohol is you can use something like Ribena and just add hot water to it, and again add one of these or some of these or the separate spices on orange, and you've got yourself a non-alcoholic version, which again is really nice. And I think I did that last year actually when I was trying to be really good on Slimming World. Another Christmassy thing that I've been thinking about this week is kind of Christmas activities to kind of get you in the festive mood, but that don't cost a lot of money, because there are a lot of things going on that cost a lot of money. There's a thing near us, and I'm sure they do this up and down the country, but there's a steam train line near us, and at Christmas, or starting soon I think, they call it the Train of Lights, and they put lights and like Christmas lights and decorations and everything all the way along the track. The train itself is all lit up. I think you get like mulled wine and a mince pie or whatever if you go on it. And it's all very lovely, I'm sure, but it's really expensive, in my opinion anyway, especially if there's quite a lot of you, you've got quite a large family, it can really, really add up. And I've heard people say that actually it's better to look at it when it's going by than to be on it, because actually when you're on it, you don't see it so much. So it got me thinking about free Christmassy things to do, and I recommend for you to look up in your own area what's going on. I just typed into Google free Christmas activities, and quite a lot came up actually round here. There's various things going on that are free, just little events, and there's one called Lanterns and Illuminations, which goes on in Brixham, where they do like there's like a lantern making workshop, and then everybody, that's during the day, and then everybody does like a procession through the main street it's early evening, you know, sort of soon as it gets dark. And I think there's fireworks, and then they switch on all the Christmas lights, and there's like a Christmas tree by the harbour. There are lots of stalls and food stalls and everything. So if you wanted to spend money, you could do. But if you just wanted to go and have a look at the lights and make a lantern, join in the procession, then that would be free. And again, I'm sure in your area there's things like that going on. There's also a light walk that they do all the way along the seafront. I think it's over in Torquay, and that's free. So there are things going on. So I do recommend for you to look up stuff in your own area. One of the things that we often like to do is just go out one evening and have a drive around, because some people do amazing Christmas light displays, don't they, in their own gardens and things. And also the shop windows can look really lovely. I guess if you live in a city, there's big displays, Christmas lights, you know, big Christmas trees in like places like shopping centres or city centres. So that can get you quite in the festive mood, I think, and that's completely free as well. We did it one year. We went for a drive around, and we actually looked at the train of lights, and we went to Torquay and looked at all the Christmas lights, and then we came back. Somebody put on Facebook like all the places to go that people had done really good displays. So we went round them all and had a look, and yeah, it was really nice. You could do things as well, like find out when your local church is having a carol service, which again would be free to go to, but it's really nice and Christmassy, gets you in the Christmas mood. Things like having games nights in with your family and friends can be fun. There's lots of Christmas quizzes on the internet. You could do board games. You could, get some mince pies or whatever food you want and have a nice afternoon or evening of playing games. That's quite festive and also free. Look up and see if there's any volunteering opportunities, that things like, Christmas dinners for in community centres and things like that, or for old people's homes, carol singing. I once one year volunteered. There's a place called Lupton House near us, and we made this like sort of fairy grotto, Christmas grotto thing for the Christmas fair that was going on there, and we had a great time doing it. It was really festive. It didn't cost me anything because obviously I was volunteering, and then I helped out serving teas and coffees and mince pies in the cafe, and I had such a nice day. We all wore Christmas jumpers, and it really got me in the festive mood, and I was helping other people. So have a look and see if there's any volunteering opportunities that you could firstly help out, and secondly, it's nice and Christmassy, get you in the Christmas spirit. And the last thing is go to craft fairs. Even if you're not really thinking of buying anything, they can be really festive. People spend a lot of time on their displays, and there's often Christmas music playing, lots of twinkly lights. Again, some city centres have really big Christmas craft fairs. There's one, our nearest one is Exeter, but I can remember when I lived in Hampshire, going to the one in Winchester was absolutely brilliant. So things like that can be really fun, and again, they're usually free to get into. And as long as you either set yourself a budget or don't spend anything, that can be a really inexpensive, festive little day out. My next tip is for if you're travelling over Christmas or just over the winter in general. Well, actually, any time of the year to be fair, but we are flying with EasyJet soon. We're going to Fuerteventura, and if you take your own, reusable coffee cup, you get 50 pence off any hot drink. Now, I've told people that we do this before, and they're like, 50p, what, so what? Why do you bother? Well, actually, if Martin and I have 1 cup of tea each on the way there and another one on the way back, that's £2 we're saving. You know, and if you go on a couple of holidays a year or you fly a lot, it soon adds up. And also the whole point of kind of being frugal is that it is the little things that add up. The other thing that we do is we always take, as well as the reusable coffee cups, we always take an empty water bottle through security, because obviously you can't take a full water bottle through security at the airport. But when you get to the other side, every airport will have a water refill station. So don't go buying water either on the plane or in the airport, because it's really expensive. Take an empty bottle, take it through security, find your water refill station. They're usually quite easy to find. The one in Bristol Airport is just outside the toilets, near Superdrug. Fill your bottle up and it's cost you nothing. So although it doesn't seem like a lot, by doing that I reckon we save probably, I don't know, maybe £3 or £4, because buying water on the plane or in the airport's quite expensive, and then we save our 50p or £1 or whatever on our cups of tea. The last tip I've got is something that I myself haven't actually done, but I've seen a few people do this online. I've seen it, so I thought I'd just share with you guys and let me know what you think. But I've seen a few people having, I think they call it an off-grid, like couple of hours or an evening or maybe a day or whatever, where they really try to not use any electricity at all. So I guess you'd have to kind of plan this a bit and make sure you were doing a sort of a suitable activity. And I've seen people say that they've downloaded a couple of things onto their iPad, for example, to watch. They've switched all the lights off, all the heating and whatever. They've lit candles, got all cosy with blankets and watching something on an iPad. Other people, I think, have got these like head torch things, which I guess use like rechargeable batteries or whatever. So they're sitting reading. Again, they've got lots of candles lit. Like I say, I personally haven't done this yet because Martin and I tend to watch the TV in the evenings. We don't have masses of lights on, and we obviously don't have the heating on. But I don't know, it might be worth a try. Let me know in the comments if you've ever done anything like that and how you did it and how you found it, and yeah, let me know. I think that's it for today. I think I've talked enough. I'm going to finish drinking my mint tea and I will catch you all again very soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.